Hey guys, it's host Adi and welcome back to Comic Space. And there are a lot of things happening with the Multiverse Saga. There are a lot of things happening with the Blade film. There are a lot of things happening with the Spider-Man 4, which is also forming up to be one of the major and the biggest film of the Multiverse Saga. As it looks like Marvel Studios and Sony are moving forward with another multiverse story on a much bigger scale than what we have seen with No Way Home. So, again, we recently have also talked about this topic, the whole landscape of 616 and the whole landscape of the multiverse and Secret Wars in general has been changed drastically. And one of the new things that we have heard, especially regarding Spider-Man 4 and what type of role Doctor Doom is going to be playing throughout all of these films, is looks to be Marvel Studios is taking a very different route than what we had thought initially, and that's what we are talking about. It is much more like a discussion more than an update. So again, if you have seen the previous video in which we talk about that Spider-Man 4, where we talk about the supposed leak synopsis and the new title for the upcoming Spider-Man 4, or aka Spider-Man Brand New Day, which is again one of the leak titles that we have got for the film. But one of the things that we majorly focused in that video was the synopsis stated that we are actually going to see an unlikely ally with just not the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, with just not the Michael Keaton's Vulture will be coming back, but we are also going to be seeing RDJ's Doctor Doom being part of Spider-Man 4. So again, I will say the whole kind of premise of the discussion that we are having right now to figure out what type of role Doctor Doom is actually going to be playing. Because again, given the nature of MCU and Marvel Studios, and obviously it is quite expected, there are going to be a lot of changes with the origin story and a lot of changes from the way that the comics Secret Wars went on both of the issues, which is now Doctor Doom. So again, with very limited projects that we have left for Doctor Doom, to introduce that character and to build that character up. So again, I think one of the very interesting things that we have kind of noticed from all of the recent updates that we have got regarding Doom is that Russo brothers might be taking the sort of the same approach the way they did with the Infinity War. It is just not the fact that putting that main villain character in the center point and having the whole story revolve around it, but to actually show the story and to go on with the story from the perspective of Doom. Because again, here's the thing. We are for sure going to be introduced with Doom in the upcoming Fantastic Four First Steps film. And we are also expecting a lot of cameos or then post-credit scene, at least just to introduce him. Or we just get a glimpse of him, even with the upcoming Brave New World. And in Fantastic Four First Steps film, we get in full actual introduction of that character. And moving forward, we are obviously going to head straight into Avengers Doomsday. The character dynamics of the whole Multiverse Saga is going to be the central point of Doomsday, and even in Spider-Man 4, if that actually turns out to be true, Doctor Doom and Peter's relation, which again, given the fact that this Doctor Doom have the same face as Tony Stark, that is quite a major thing here. That is going to be such an important thing, and given the fact Spider-Man is also going to be one of the major and the integral member of the 616 Avengers in Avengers Doomsday. And again, I think that dynamic of both of those characters, I would say that Peter is actually can be one of those key characters. Alongside, of course, we have our both of the captains now in the 616 universe with Carol, with Sam Wilson. With all of these three characters are going to be such a key part. Most however is going to be Peter, of course, because I think that dynamic is going to go a very long way. And again, given the leak synopsis, I think it just further proves the point if that turns out to be true. Because again, I think one of the things that we can really be sure about is Spider-Man 4 is going to be a multiverse story. And again, Daniel Cretton is going to direct that film, who was supposed to be directing Avengers Kang Dynasty when it was initially announced. Then he had to step down because again, he had already been working on the Wonder Man series, and he is also working on the Shang-Chi 2 as well. In the fact that he was in the initial days and in the planning days when the Kang was all that we had, and he was such an integral and the central point of the Multiverse Saga. Obviously, I think one of the kind of the features or the elements from the Kang Dynasty, not exactly because that is a completely different thing, but in terms of the multiverse, I think we are actually gonna get a little more into that concept than we did with No Way Home. So here's the thing, the Fantastic Four First Steps film, we think that the universe that we are going to see in the Fantastic Four film is, at the end of it, it is going to end up destroyed. And of course, the Fantastic Four being survived that event, or if they directly connect themselves to the 616 universe just at the end of that film, and we are going to have our main villain Doctor Doom coming from that same universe as well, which we think which again it will make sense if he actually does. Again, he's not going to be the main villain of the film. I don't think so he's actually going to be one of the side characters even, and given the fact that his world was destroyed, if you are going to introduce that character, he's also going to be needing to learn all of the things that have happened throughout with the Kang dynasty, with the Council of Kang, with where Loki is sitting right now and he's looking over the whole multiverse. And I think one of the first things that we need to write off Kang and the Kang dynasty out of the storyline, because obviously Marvel will need to provide an explanation of what happened with Kang, because he was all that we have until the very end of the saga. So to write that off and to write the whole Council of Kang off, Doctor Doom goes on to absorb all of the, or to end all of the variants of Kang when he enters that arena where we saw the Council of Kangs last time, much like what happened with the Beyonders in the comics run. So again, where we have Doctor Doom absorbing and ending all of the variants of Kang and cementing the fact that he's going to be the one and only moving forward, and that is going to be Avengers Doomsday. That film is actually going to be very much about from the perspective of Doom. I think it is going to be very much Doctor Doom film, then it is going to be an Avengers film, because that film is actually going to start the story of that character actually in motion, with everything that is going to be coming before it is just going to be an introduction whatsoever. So moving forward then, or where he's going to go next, he has to learn about TVA, how they works and the history of the whole multiverse, and he have to visit Loki for sure. Because even in the comics, the throne that Doom sits on is in the shape of the Yggdrasil tree. We have seen the throne of Loki that he sits on right now, and it is the shape of course. So again, given everything, that's how we think is going to be the setup of introducing that character and Doom taking over. And I think the parallel to Thanos is for sure is going to be, because Doom is not the villain. Because even in the comics, Doom is not going to be villain, at least from his perspective. It is just him, given the fact that incursion is going to be happening all over the place and the whole multiverse is just gonna go till the end. He's going to come out on the top and taking over the whole thing and building his new battle world. But again, I think the confusion being is the Spider-Man 4. It's coming after Avengers Doomsday, and even with all of the things that we have heard, the continuity wise, the story is going to be straightforward. It is Spider-Man 4 is not going to be prequel to whatever happens in Avengers Doomsday, and we know Spider-Man is going to be a major part of Avengers Doomsday as well. At the end of Avengers Doomsday, the battle world might not form just yet, and that's how we actually get that character dynamic between Doom and Peter moving forward in Spider-Man 4. And leading into Secret Wars, it is all break loose. And one of the interesting things that we have discovered in the recent days about Spider-Man 4 is that Tom Holland, in a recent interview, he did know that RDJ was going to be returning as Doctor Doom into the MCU. He did know before the announcement was made. So again, I think it just kind of further proves to the point, or gives it more foundation to the point that Doom is actually going to be part of Spider-Man 4. So again, given all of the things that we have heard and all of the things that we are all speculating about, but again, I will still say take it as a grain of salt, because we still have a long way to go and we still have a lot of things to go through before we actually get to that kind of stuff. But again, I think as fans being, but that's kind of our job to speculate all about it. So again, I think it is time for me to see you guys off on this one. I'm so glad that you guys got the time to hear me out. Thanks for listening to me. This is your host Taji signing off. See you in the next one.